Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, guys. So today we are going to discuss another type of the Trinity. This one is called the relative identity Trinity. Okay, relative identity theory. So you know that the other times I've discussed like the social Trinity, yes, and then I've discussed the Trinity monotheism. Okay, so today relative identity theory. You might be wondering like why are there so many types? I'm telling you there are many different conceptions, and you might think it's actually one thing. It's not one thing. And if you're Christian, you're watching this, I'm telling you there are so many that some of them, most even not like they are contradictory. You can find some that will be saying totally different stuff. They don't say the same things, okay? And you can watch the other ones I've seen and you can see the slight differences between them. For example, the social trinity and the social trinity and the trinity monotheism. There are three selves, but they are actually different. One is like partialism, and the other one is like polytheism, like straight up three gods. The other one is like three persons that are not fully God. So you see, those are slight differences. So today, let's go to the relative identity theory. What does this mean? See, even from the word you see, relative identity. The normal one we know is classical identity. So classical identity is like this. Something cannot be, if something is the same thing and like you have different names for it, it's still the same thing. So for example, I recently saw this example that someone used. So now there's something in the early period of the time, they used to say something like this. Whenever they see the morning star, they say this is the morning star, and then the evening star, and they call this the morning star and evening star. At that time they didn't know that they're actually the same things. And then we know it's Venus. So it's the planet Venus that appears like that. So there's no morning star, there's no evening star. Everything is just Venus. So now, those people that are calling it morning star and evening star, they are making a distinction between them. But when they find out that everything is just referring to Venus at the end of the day, so it's just the same thing. We are just saying it in different ways. Do you see? So they are identical. The morning star is identical to the evening star, is identical to Venus. You see? So that is numerical sameness. They are the same thing. Okay? So now, in the statement of the Trinity, and by the way, this one I'm going to explain is I think is the most popular one that most apologists, they use this one. And they just tell it to the Christians whenever they ask you about the Trinity, this is what you tell them. And I will show you the weakness of this argument, okay? So now, the argument goes like this. We say the Father is God, the Son is God, and the Holy Spirit is God. And then there's one God. So they said, you see, why are you guys having issues with this? Can't we say the Father is God, the Son is God, the Holy Spirit is God, and then there's only one God? Why are you having issues with it? We are like, see, based on classical identity, as long as the Father is God and the Son is God, the Father has to be the Son. That's what should follow. If the Father is numerically identical to God and the Son is numerically identical to God, the Father has to be equal to the Son. But you guys deny that, and we know from the New Testament the Father is not the Son. We know that, okay? So if we know that the Father is not the Son and they are equal, the Father is God, and they have to be two different gods. So you cannot say there's only one God. So that is the main objection. So now, what do they say? They are saying, no, you guys don't understand. This is where they bring out the card. Which card? They bring out this card of three persons and one being. You must have heard this before. Three persons and one being. So they'll tell you, see, when we say the Father is God, the Son is God, the Holy Spirit is God, we are saying the Father is a divine person. So the Son is a divine person. The Holy Spirit is a divine person. Then when we say there's only one God, we mean there's only one being of God. See, so this is where they bring the three persons and one being. This is the most popular one. If you can understand this one and you can present it well, this is the one you really need to know. So follow the argument. So you see what they said. They are saying, see, this is the main objection they have. They are saying something can be this. Some things may be different some things, but yet the same something else. So they will say they are same in this regard, but they are different in another regard. So that is the whole point of the argument. That see, we are saying they are the same being, but they are different persons. This is what most Christians know. Most of them. Maybe they cannot explain it, but this is what most of them say. So they will say they are the same being, but different persons. So what is the issue with that? So they will give you different analogies. For example, I'm a human being, you're a human being. So we can say there's one being called humanity. humanity, but we are different persons. So does it mean that we are not, does it mean that there's not one humanity? You see, this is the argument they use. So this argument, I've already explained it in another video that I was, like the whole three persons and one being thing, I've already explained it, but I will explain it again today. And this is what you need to use against this argument. What do you need to know? You need to know something. Whenever a Christian tells you there are three persons and one being, what you need to do is ask them to define those things. What is the meaning of a being? What is the meaning of a person? So is either two ways. That one being that we are talking about, is it a universal property or not? A universal property or a general essence can be shared by many things. So, for example, humanity can be in many places and it's still one. Okay, humanity is one, but it can be in many places. For example, blueness is a general essence. So blueness can be many things. You can have, can I see something that is blue? Okay, see my tie. My tie is blue. This pen is blue. The blue is in different places, but there's only one blueness, okay? We are saying there's only one blueness, but there are different instances of that blueness. So there's blueness here, there's blueness here. So now the question is, if is that reason that you are giving, if that is why you're saying that there's only one God, it doesn't work. Why? Why does it not work? When you say there's one being, if you think it's a universal property, like I'm a human being, you're a human being, but we are not. There's only one being of humanity, but they are different persons. The question is that, if that is what you think it is, it still doesn't work. There are still three gods there. Because see, if the Father is a person, the Son is a person, and the Holy Spirit is a person, and then you have this one being. This one being, if it's a universal property, it will be that this universal property is in each and every one of them, such that the Father has that property. Everything it takes to be that property, he has it. So the Father is fully a divine being. The Son is a divine being. The Holy Spirit is a divine being. Okay, so you still have three beings. It doesn't solve the problem. Just saying that they are different category doesn't solve the problem. Such that, see, let's take the case of the human now. You're a human being, I'm a human being. And we say there's only one humanity. Does it mean that I don't have what it takes to be a human? So, for example, let's say, I'm not saying you should die, but let's say you are no more. If you are no more here, will there still be humanity or not? That's the question. This humanity, let's say everybody dies and there's only one man left. This one man, does he have the humanity inside of him or not? You say yes, he has humanity. It's not about the number. It's about, can a person instantiate a particular universal? So each person is a particular being. There's no person that is not a being. This one, listen to this. Remember this. There is no person that is not a being. Every person is a particular being, even with any universal property or whichever one. And if you want more detail on this, check out my video that I made about three persons and one being. I made a video about this. I went into details of how different ways you can explain it, and it will still be the same thing. Okay, so now they just try to make a category. They will say you are making a category error. We are not saying there's three beings. We are saying there's three persons. So in one sense there are three persons, but in another sense they are one being. What they are saying, they might not even know this. And by the way, many apologists, they don't know this. They think you have solved the problem by saying there's difference between the person and a being. No. You see, when you say there's a difference, you're talking about a universal property. And that universal property doesn't exist on its own. By the way, just to be clear, to be fair, there are some theories that I will still later bring on to you, that they think, you see that one being that they're saying, that one being is concrete. They think it's something concrete somewhere that is actually not the same as the persons. So such that this one being is actually real. Like in the Platonic sense, that one being is real somewhere. And the persons are just individuating that one being, such that the persons become inferior. Even then, even that's the case, if you think the what's it called? If you think it's a concrete thing, that one being, still the persons will be instantiating it in some way, such that there will still be three beings instantiating that particular being. Three persons, they will instantiate that particular being, and there will be three beings, even if they will not be perfect like the one being. unless the Christians can admit that, see, that one being we are talking about, that's the real thing. You see, the persons, they are just inferior. No, they will not want to say that. They want to say, you see, each person has that, you see, we are using being. Another way to understand this is like this. They are saying there are three divine persons, but one divine nature. That's another way to understand it. Divine nature. When I say one being, I mean one divine nature. Now, that divine nature is in each one of the three persons. So the Father has the divine nature. The Son has the divine nature. The Holy Spirit has the divine nature. Such that you have three persons with divine nature. If you have three divine nature in three places, you have three beings. So if the divine nature is a being, you have three beings. The divine nature is not something somewhere, is in each one of them. So you cannot see a person without it being a particular being. Persons are not just existing without being a particular being. Every person is a particular being. So this argument doesn't work. At the end of the day, it results in three gods, three beings. There's no, even if we say it, even if they say relative identity, in the real sense, when we start looking at it theologically, it doesn't work because of the reasons I've given. So guys, learn this kind of arguments. I'm telling you, these are arguments that are very serious arguments that you can use to show the Christians. See, you're not trying to tell them that, you're just trying to show them that, see, you have three gods. There's no way around it. Three cannot become one. You have three gods. Show them with this argument I've given you. So guys, like this video, share it with your friends. Anyone that is interested in dawah, or even your Christian friends, you can share it with them, and subscribe to this channel, guys. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.